World War I, the era when tanks first appeared on the battlefield. Clunky, slow, but revolutionary. Today we'll show you 5 of the most interesting tanks of that time, available in 1:35 scale. And at the end, a special bonus, something that didn't make it into either of our rankings, but simply had to be mentioned. This is a continuation of our series on World War I military vehicles. In our first video, we explored 10 unusual transport vehicles, so be sure to check it out. The link is in the description and will pop up in the top right corner. Now, let's dive into these fascinating war machines. Before we begin, subscribe and give it a like. It is not difficult for you and it will help the channel to develop. 5th place, the British medium tank, Mark A Whippet. When people think of World War I tanks, they often imagine the Mark I, but Britain had another important tank, the Mark A Whippet. It was the first mass-produced medium tank, designed for deep breakthrough operations. Introduced in 1917, it was a great addition to the slow and cumbersome Mark I. The Whippet was armed with 4 Hotchkiss machine guns, had up to 14 millimeters of armor, and could reach 13 kilometers per hour, much faster than its heavy tank counterparts. This vehicle proved that tanks could be not just armored fortresses, but also a maneuverable offensive weapon. Whippet in 1:35 scale. There are 2 main kits available in this scale. Mung. This kit is highly detailed, featuring workable tracks that allow for a natural track sag effect. It includes photo-etched parts, adding to the realism. The model also has opening hatches, making it ideal for dioramas with crew figures. Mung's plastic quality is excellent, though the build is a bit complex and requires precision. Tacom. A simpler-to-build kit, but still highly detailed. The main advantage? It includes 2 versions of the Whippet in one box, an early version with a different machine gun arrangement, and a late version with extra armor plates. Tacom also provides workable tracks, though they don't have the same sag effect as Meng's. Conclusion. If you want maximum detail and complexity, go for Meng. If you prefer an easier build with 2 tank variants, Tacom is a great choice. And up next, even more fascinating machines. 4th place, the French light tank Renault FT-17. This tank truly changed history. The Renault FT-17 was the first to feature the modern tank layout that is now standard worldwide. A rotating turret on top, an engine in the rear, and the crew in the front. Because of this, it is considered the ancestor of all modern tanks. Introduced in 1917, the Renault FT-17 was so successful that it was still in use during World War II. It was small, lightweight, and maneuverable, yet perfect for infantry support. Depending on the version, it was armed with either a machine gun or a 37mm cannon. By the way, this tank is also featured in our video, 10 tanks that are essential for modeling, so be sure to check it out. The link is in the description. Renault FT-17 in 1:35 scale. If you want to add this legendary tank to your collection, the best option is Meng's TS-011 kit. This model features highly detailed turret and suspension, includes 2 turret options, riveted and cast, so you can choose the version you prefer. Comes in high-quality plastic and builds well, though some small parts require careful handling. Has non-workable tracks, but they look very realistic. Final verdict. This is the best 1:35 Renault FT-17 model for anyone who wants to build one of the most iconic tanks in history. And up next, even more fascinating machines. 3rd place, the German A7V tank. When Britain introduced tanks to the battlefield, Germany quickly realized it needed its own armored force. This led to the creation of the A7V, the only tank Germany managed to field during World War I. Unlike the British rhomboid-shaped tanks, the A7V was more like a giant armored box on tracks. It was massive, 7.3 meters long, weighing 30 tons, and requiring a crew of 18 men. It was armed with a 57mm Maxim Nordenfeldt gun in the front and 6 MG-08 machine guns placed around the hull. Due to production difficulties, only 20 units were built, so the A-7V didn't significantly impact the war. However, it remains Germany's first ever tank, paving the way for future armored vehicle development. A 7V in 1:35 scale Meng TS-017, a highly detailed kit of an early A-7V variant. It includes photo-etched parts, an interior, and opening hatches, making it great for dioramas. Due to the number of small parts, it's best suited for experienced modelers. The A-7V is a unique tank with fascinating history. If you want to add a rare World War I vehicle to your collection, this is a perfect choice. And coming up, even more legendary tanks. Second place, the British Mark I male tank. When talking about World War I tanks, it's impossible not to mention the Mark I. This was the world's first mass-produced tank, a machine that changed warfare forever. Many might think it deserves first place, but that would be too obvious. So it's in second place instead. The Mark I appeared in 1916 as a response to the trench warfare stalemate. Its rhomboid shape and long tracks allowed it to cross trenches and barbed wire, while its armor protected against small arms fire. The male version was armed with 2 57mm guns and 4 machine guns. The Mk1 was slow, about 6 kilometers per hour, and mechanically unreliable, but its impact on the battlefield was massive. This is the tank that started it all. Mk1, male in 1:35 scale. If you want to build this legendary vehicle, you have 3 great options. Meng, one of the most detailed Mk1 kits. It includes photo-etched parts, realistic tracks, and even an interior. Great for dioramas, but the build is quite complex. Tacom, a good alternative to Meng, but easier to assemble. It features workable tracks and solid detailing. If you want a high-quality kit without excessive complexity, this is a great choice. Tamiya, the most affordable and beginner-friendly Mark I model. It's easy to build, though the tracks are not workable, and detailing is simpler than Meng and Tacom. However, it still looks great when finished. The Mark I is a legend, and if you collect historically significant tanks, this one must be in your collection. But up next, our number 1 pick, and it might surprise you, First place, the French heavy tank Saint-Chamond. Here it is, first place. Some may find this choice unexpected, but the Saint-Chamond was the most powerful yet underrated tank of World War I. When France began developing tanks, they had 2 competing designs: the Renault FT-17, which became the blueprint for all modern tanks, and the Schneider CA-1. However, the army wanted something heavier, leading to the creation of Saint-Chamond. This was the most heavily armed tank of World War I. Its 75mm gun was the best tank gun of that era. However, it had a strange design. The tank was too long for its own tracks, causing it to get stuck in trenches and uneven terrain. Despite its flaws, Saint-Chamond proved that tanks could do more than just support infantry. They could lead attacks on their own. This was a major step forward in tank development. Saint-Chamond in 1:35 scale. Want to build one of the most unique WWI tanks? Then, you need Tacom's model. Tacom, a highly detailed kit of the late version of Saint-Chamond. It includes workable tracks, photo-etched parts, and an interior. A great choice if you want to build something truly different. Hobby Boss, the early version with different armor layout and details. Also highly detailed but slightly more challenging to assemble. The Saint-Chamond was unappreciated in its time, but its impact on tank development was huge. If you want to build a rare and unique machine, this is the best choice. And now, it's time for our bonus entry, a piece of military history we simply couldn't ignore. When discussing World War I military vehicles, we simply can't ignore railway transport. It played a huge and sometimes even decisive role on the front lines, ensuring the movement of troops, equipment, and supplies. Railway vehicles are not very common in scale modeling, and World War I-era trains are even rarer. However, Mini Art has brought us two unique kits: a flatbed railcar used for transporting tanks, artillery, and supplies, a troop transport boxcar, essential for moving soldiers across the battlefield. These kits are great as standalone builds, but they truly shine as part of larger dioramas. It's fantastic that Mini Art has given modelers the chance to recreate World War I railway history. And with that, our video comes to an end. Thanks for watching until the very end. Let me know in the comments which tank was your favorite. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. There's plenty more great content ahead. See you next time.